No.
I'll pass.
Oh wow, wait, that's kind of like wow, that's like. Wait, that's like me too. Oh wow, that's really nice. Check back 10 years. Hello.
I'm like in the middle of round.
OK，大家晚上好，欢迎大家来到 CAJ 华人协会举办的 Senior Night。我们今年请了7位优秀的 graduates，对，优秀的毕业生。OK，let's introduce yourself. Let's start from Patrick. And you can tell us your name, where you're going, and your major, if you have one.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm Patrick. I'll be going to the University of Pennsylvania next year. I'll be majoring in electrical engineering and business. Business undecided.
Hi, everyone. I'm Enson. I'm going to go to Northwestern University with a double major in economics and social policy.
Hi, my name is Noreen Chen, and I'm going to Brown University, and I'm planning on studying environmental and urban studies.
Hi, my name is Katie, and I'm going to be going to Harvard studying English.
Hi, my name is Lyons, and I'm going to Brown University in the PLME program, and I'm going to be studying cognitive neuroscience.
Hi, I'm Katie. I'm going to Yale, and I'll be studying history.
Hi, I'm Ruoxi. I'm going to be going to MIT and majoring in some type of math. Undecided.
All right, thank you so much. We have some questions from parents that we collected beforehand. And one of the questions is that one question is that how to find the passions. Let's start with. Okay.
I think I just try a lot of new things, right? Like I dropped, I guess, like 80% of everything that I've ever done in my entire life. And which, like, maybe you can call me a quitter, but like, I don't know. I found what I liked. I stuck with the things that I liked, and it worked out pretty well at the end.
Yeah, I agree. I would say the thing that's helped me the most is just keeping an open mind. At the beginning of high school, I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian. I thought I wanted to go to vet school. And then I decided I wanted to be an English major. And now I finally settled on history. And so obviously that's a pretty big transition of interests. And I would say that just like trying new things, when something interests me, like exploring that more, don't just like push it aside because it's like so different from what I'm already interested in. Like exploring all those different avenues really helped me focus on what I actually like.
So I agree with both Katie and Roxy. I think like from the beginning of high school, for example, I played piano and violin, and I dropped violin because piano was something I really wanted to explore more. And I think just going into like delving into and connecting with yourself and what do you want to do in life and what do you want to pursue is really important. And just like going with your gut and going with what you want to do.
Yeah, just kind of reiterating what's already been said, just explore widely and explore deeply. Like for me, when I first entered high school in freshman year, I honestly thought that I was going to be doing competitive math throughout high school because that was like my main interest. And then later on, that's when I discovered that I had a passion for writing and that I was good at it. So I would just say, don't be afraid to try new things. And also similar to Roxy, I did end up dropping like almost every club I did. So don't be afraid to just, especially in your freshman, sophomore year, don't be afraid to try everything that the school has to offer.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone has said so far. I think trying a lot of things is really helpful to find what you're really passionate about. Just like everyone else, I thought when I entered high school, I thought I would go into like art or something, but then I actually found I really liked writing as well. And I also found my passion for environmental science. So I would say like trying different things and talking to different people and joining different clubs is pretty useful.
Yeah, I agree. I think high school is all about trial and error. So especially if you're an underclassman right now, there's a lot of opportunities and clubs that Jericho sponsors that you guys could, sign yourselves up for. And also talk to your friends, because there's a reason why you guys are, like-minded individuals. There's a reason why you guys are together, probably because you guys hold a special interest. So yeah, talk to your friends and ask what they are up to as well.
Yeah, so I also agree, just explore everything. And I think like the main thing with finding your passion, I mean, for us, it's even hard to say that our passions are going to last for the next 4 years. But at the same time, when we do something, like for example, one of my passions is robotics. When I do robotics, when I start doing robotics, the time flies by, and I like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, I won't even realize I'm spending like so much time on this. And so if that's something that happens when you're doing activity, then that may be something worth pursuing.
Thank you. And that's one question that I'm personally interested in. What do you consider the most when you're choosing college? Let's start with Lyons.
For me, I think I really chose like what like environment I would like really thrive in. So I really like Brown because of like the open curriculum and how it would allow me to explore like a lot of other things. So for example, I really like science, but as Katie knows, I also really like Model Congress, and I really like drafting legislation and being really passionate on a lot of climate issues as well. And I'm also really interested in music, piano. I actually graduated from the Manhattan School of Music this past month. So yeah, and I think just like choosing an environment that really like allows me to grow as a person and shapes me into a better person in the future.
All right, let's go to KDT. I'll come back to you later, KDW. Okay.
I would say definitely look specifically at the classes and the clubs that are offered. Because a lot of these colleges on the surface level may look like they have very similar programs, but I would say definitely look at the classes, look at the professors that are teaching them, look at what concepts are covered and see if they align with your interests. Also, I would suggest like actually visiting campus, because everyone kind of says like you kind of get the vibe of the campus once you're there, but I think it's really true because just the culture, the people, it's not really something that you can just figure out from a website. So I would definitely suggest visiting. And also the food was a huge factor for me.
I don't know me.
Think with me. I agree with what Katie and Lyons said, and with Brown, I really liked it because of the open curriculum, and I liked how it gave me freedom to explore like multiple fields. I think another thing that was really useful for me was talking to current students at those schools. And I actually found like a current Brown student, and she let me know that like Brown was very supportive and everyone there was very welcoming. So I definitely thought that was a good thing to keep in mind. Like when you're at college and you're studying, you definitely want to be surrounded with people who like want you to succeed. Like everyone wants everyone else to succeed.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone has said so far. And I think it's the environment, the programs that are offered, and also the people. So first, the environment. I really like Northwestern because first off, it's in the suburbs, but it's also in close proximity to Chicago. So it's kind of like Jericho, New York City. And it was also close by the water, Lake Michigan, which was really nice. And then the programs. So Northwestern is extremely interdisciplinary. You could double major, double minor, dual major. They offer so many services and resources. They have over 600 different clubs. And I look for variety, quality, and quantity when I'm considering a college, and then the people. So I agree with what Noreen said. Maybe talk to current college students that graduated from Jericho and ask them about their own experiences.
Yeah, for me, I kind of envisioned myself on the campus and I thought about what it was I wanted to pursue in college. And I also thought about what it was that if I didn't want to do, say, electrical engineering, what else would I want to do? And if there would be like a separate path for that at that college. I think a huge part is also just people. So make sure you reach out to current alumni. I mean, the Jericho students alumni are always willing to talk to you. And yeah.
See?
For me, I looked at a list of the average salary that graduates earn, and then MIT was really high up there, so I was like, oh, this is pretty good.
That's very realistic.
Right, no, but like, other than that, right, like, when I was talking to some current students there, everyone there was like, oh, like, we're dying, we're absolutely like miserable, well, no, not miserable, we're absolutely drowning in work, but I love it, like, I would rather die here than live anywhere else. So I was like, okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so I think one of the things for me that I did was, I mean, first of all, a lot of research, you know, I visited a lot of schools. I went very in depth on a lot of their websites. But the thing that helped me most was just thinking about where I currently am at Jericho, the things I like about being here and the things I don't like. So for me, you know, I think it's no surprise to all of you that this is a pretty competitive school district, and that's not something I was personally a huge fan of in my time here. And so when I looked at colleges, one of the things I really looked at was making sure they have a collaborative environment. And so I think thinking about where you are and what you like about where you are, and then thinking about what you would change going forward was a really good way for me to see kind of what I liked. And that also changed as I visited campuses too. Like initially I was really into the whole open curriculum idea. And then I realized that I'm absolutely terrible at structuring my life. And so that was probably not the best school for me. And so as you do all this research, your feelings about colleges will change. And I think it's really important to just like kind of be open to that.
Okay. The next one is about time management. How to balance the relationship between staying up late and get things done. Okay, I'm not talking about staying up late, good evening.
I can throw this.
Yeah, so I feel like everyone here procrastinates, right? That's just a human thing to do. If you structure your time well, you shouldn't be sleeping late, but you are going to be sleeping late because that's just how it's going to work. So I would say that the best thing is just to get started as soon as you can. And it's like sometimes you won't have an idea of where to start, but just putting yourself in that space and just thinking about it, like maybe spend like an hour a day or an hour just one day and just thinking about like, hey, what ideas do I have for my Common App or something? Like that will help you a lot going to summer. And I would say like don't wait till the last minute, because for me that was a huge problem. I got like 0 sleep that last week. I actually didn't sleep. I don't know.
I'm going to start off with time management in high school first. Like Patrick said, I think we have to be a bit more real, especially in Jericho's community. To a certain extent, to succeed, you will have to concede to the fact that you're going to have to sacrifice sleep. You're going to have to stay up late, and it's not entirely what your body wants, but it's your inner drive to do well. And then as far as time management in the college application process, I would say definitely have a counselor, whether it's school, whether it's out of school, or a friend, a sibling to hold you accountable on when things are due, so you're not self-reliant. And then just one advice of time management in the real world, I would say every time I write down by hand, not on the computer, you don't type, but every time I write down what my schedule is or what I want to get accomplished the night before the actual day, I usually am productive the next day, rather than just thinking about it or mentally thinking about the things that I have to do. I would definitely say write them down that in advance or the night before, so you actually can hold yourself accountable.
Yeah, I like what Enson said about like writing things down. I have a planner that I always write like what I need to do for each class. And then if I find like there's a lot of things I need to do, I try to see what things I need to prioritize first. So then I focus on those more. But then in terms of like extracurriculars, if those are a lot, I would say if you feel like you're spreading yourself thin, to really see which ones like are most meaningful to you, so that you can spend your time like most like efficiently on the ones that you like find most meaningful to yourself. And then for the Common App or like for college, I would say, yeah, it's really easy to procrastinate. One thing that was helpful for me was kind of setting up my environment, like my work environment, to like kind of help me get into like the headspace of like writing my essays. So like setting up my laptop and like really getting myself in the mindset to do that.
Honestly, I don't think I'm the best person to answer this question because my time management skills are questionable. But I would say definitely plan your time out and get things done early. So like for those of you who are juniors, you probably had a lot of people tell you to get your essays done early. And honestly, I think that's just so important because I know a lot of us here waited till the last minute and it just doesn't make for a very pleasant experience. So if you can, definitely plan your time out, structure it, and get the things that you need to get done early. And also, I think Enson talked about this, but really holding yourself accountable, getting other people to hold you accountable was a really big thing for me. So like planning your time out. Also, I would schedule like deadlines with my guidance counselor. So I would have to get an essay done by a certain date. That way I wasn't leaving everything to the last minute. And I know like during the college essay season, I would always go over to Ruoxi's house because I knew I could get more stuff done at her house than I did at mine. Because at my house, I would just scroll on TikTok all day.
She lived in my basement for a solid like
I
2
really
weeks
did.
sometimes.
Yeah, I made a home in her basement. So yeah, get friends, get parents, get counselors who you know will hold you accountable. If you know that you can't do the work yourself, and that way you can structure your time out so it's not just super stressful at the last stretch.
Oh, as a parent, do your parents remind you get homework done? Or you plan your time? Do you stick with it, or your parent has to like constantly remind you that you need to get things done? And then you get frustrated, and I got frustrated.
I think for me, my parents don't really remind me much. It's mostly just me doing it on my own. I think it can definitely be good to have a parent holding you accountable, but in the end, it's really up to you how much you're willing to put in, how much effort you're willing to sacrifice. So I think it's teamwork on both parties.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with everything everybody else has said. I think that really holding yourself accountable, because you're gonna have to sacrifice a lot to really if you really want to get into a good college, you really have to sacrifice a lot of sleep. And because I know I am not the best with time management, so I slept really late a lot of nights. So really holding yourself accountable and having other people hold you accountable. I know for myself, my parents really never held me accountable for like anything. I had to hold myself accountable for work because I think for me, like doing schoolwork and stuff, like I think that's just a given. I think that like maybe like not for others, but for me, I think it really like bothers me to have things like not due on time. So yeah, that's just me.
I think it's really important to know yourself, especially when you're talking about high school in general. I like to be very organized, and so one of the things that really helped me stay focused, especially when studying for the SAT or for APs, was a color-coded spreadsheet with like different tasks that I had to do every day, and that really helped me. But I also knew myself, and I knew that there would be days where I was really tired or like not in the mood to do work, and I wouldn't be as productive as I should have been. So I also budgeted like a week of extra space just in case anything happened. And I think just knowing yourself, figuring out what study habits work best for you, like, you know, it's great to be productive, but some people are best under pressure and when they procrastinate. And if that works for you, then stick with that. And I think Enson actually mentioned this, when it comes to college, I would very strongly advocate for a college counselor if you're able. My mom is actually a college counselor, and so she was really there, to your point, you know, not like I had to be accountable for my own work. Obviously, she wasn't writing any essays for me, but having that source of support and just reminders of, hey, you know, make sure this is what you want to be doing, that really helped me stay on track and stay focused. So definitely like know yourself, know your strengths and weaknesses, and then plan studying, plan homework, plan college essays around what works best for you. See?
What Katie says is very, very true. What works for me is not going to work for everyone. I'm someone who works best on like a lot of sleep. So like over the years, I found out that doing homework at 12 a.m. means I'm going to be sleeping at 3, but if I wake up at 8 to do homework, I'm doing that 3-hour homework in less than 15 minutes in the morning. So that's what's worked for me for like time management in high school. And then when it comes to like college stuff as well, I agree with what everyone has said before. Get yourself someone to hold you accountable, a college counselor, a parent, a friend, anything.
Oh wait, can I add something actually? Sure. I also just want to say, you know, we're talking about like all this stress and all this work, and it is absolutely a lot of work and absolutely a lot of stress. But there are ways that I found made me more productive that also made the process slightly less torturous. There was a week during Christmas break where I spent every day from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. at the public library with a group of my friends, and we would go get lunch when we were hungry. But for the majority of the day, we were just sitting at the library doing work together. And it was really nice because you have a group of people who are also working, who can keep you accountable and keep you focused. But if you need to take, you know, a 5-minute walk, there's someone who will be willing to do that with you. And so definitely like, don't just think of studying as like locking yourself in a room and studying, because that's not necessarily what's going to work best for you.
If I may just add one more thing, I'm kind of curious about this myself. How many times did you guys all write your Common App, like revise and rewrite it? For me, it was like, you only took 2 times.
I did 20 drafts.
I think I did like 13.
Be honest.
2.
I had an idea of what I wanted way before. So like when I did it,
It took a while to get there, man.
so stubborn to the point where like even if I didn't like it, I was determined to make it work. Anyways, my Common App will give me a 2. So more than 2 drafts. More than 2 drafts.
I did like 3 different topics, so it takes a while.
Yeah, so
Sorry. It's fine, it's fine. For me, I did like, I brainstormed like a list of topics I wanted to do, and then I just like crossed them out based on like what I thought was like gonna work and not work, and then I just like wrote 2 and then just picked the best one.
One draft of your.
I wrote 2 Common Apps, and then I just picked the best one. out of that.
Wow, that's astounding.
It's good for you. You guys are indecisive people, right? Like I'm stubborn, he's decisive.
I'm indecisive. I also brainstormed a list of topics and I ran through a few of them. I did like a few first drafts and hated them. And I'm also the type of person who like, if something is not flowing onto the page, I just kind of accept that maybe it's not the best idea, because your Common App should really be personal and it should really say a lot about you. And so if it's not flowing naturally and it doesn't feel like your personality in an essay, then it's probably not the right topic. And so that also just kind of thinking of it like that helped me pick a topic and stay with it, and then I did.
Oh yeah, so I thought everyone here would have more drafts. Maybe if you're like me, your first draft won't be your best draft. It might not even be a good draft. It's good if you're like me, it'll take some time to find what you want. So at least try not to like wait until like 3 days before to do something. Like, the college application is a little bit different from homework. So
It took me a solid month to like get my Common App to a point where I was like very happy with it. So give yourself a lot of time.
It'll take longer than you think it does, so start early.
It takes a while to get into the mindset too.
Yeah.
So make sure to really try to give yourself.
And actually, that's maybe W said we have two friends that started in the library.
Yeah.
And that's a question that do classmates and friends around you have great influence on you? Like that includes studies, school choice, interests?
I would say for some of those, definitely, my friend group is all very smart, very high achieving people. And so we kind of share a lot of ideas, and a lot of the same kind of, I mean, my friend group is like all up here being represented tonight. So clearly, we've done well, but, I think in terms of the schools I was choosing, they didn't have a ton of impact just because we kind of knew from the start we would be applying to the same schools. And it was just a matter of picking, especially for early decisions, picking the school that was the best fit for us personally. But in terms of, my work ethic, in terms of staying productive, they were so helpful. And those library sessions, I don't think I could have finished all my work without them. Like, they were so helpful. And just having a support system of people who are also going through the same stress, the same pain, the same anxiety, that was something that I really relied on, because if you called a friend at like 2 a.m. because you couldn't sleep because you had procrastinated, and you said, I can't get this essay to work, more often than not, they're going to be willing to help you because they've experienced the same thing.
Lyons, anything to say about that?
No, I think just like surrounding yourself with the correct people and trying to build each other to be better people is a good idea.
Microphone out.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay, well, I said that already. Okay, I think like in terms of interests, my friends definitely did have a big influence on me, especially when I was younger, like in my freshman year. I feel like my entire friend group was very like math and science based. So for me, that had an influence just because I felt like I also had to like lean into that interest in STEM. So I really didn't start discovering like the arts and the humanities until like very later on. Which is not a bad thing, but I definitely think don't be afraid to branch out from your friends and from your peers, just because you never know what you might discover. But also I do think in terms of just like having a support system, I agree with everything Katie said. I think having friends who support you, who have your best interests at heart is so important. Especially I know like during the college essay writing season, I had so many friends give me feedback. I had so many people who I sent drafts to, people who I stayed up really late, like discussing, like, do I like this idea? Do I like this different idea? Should I scrap it? Should I rewrite it? Because honestly, the college application process will make anyone feel like they're going crazy. So it's just really helpful to have like a group of friends who you can bounce ideas off of and who will support you and who will be honest with you. I think that's really crucial.
Noreen?
I agree with what Katie said. I think having a good like circle around you is nice for keeping like yourself accountable, especially during college app season. Also, yeah, it's nice to be supported and like know like your friends can help you keep yourself on track. And yeah, and when you and your friends are going through like hard times, you can kind of like rely on each other to keep each other like sane, especially during Common App season. What else? I think it's also really nice to have like friends that are like in studying like different fields, because I think you can kind of see like what they're doing and what their interests are. Like for me, I feel like in high school, I wasn't really friends with people who had like similar interests, but I think that's fine. And then also when you're doing like different clubs, you tend to find like people with similar interests, so you can always hang out with them also.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone has said as well. I think friends play an instrumental part in your high school experience. For example, if it weren't for Patrick and Roxy, who, helped found this nonprofit, my common application, a big part of it wouldn't be complete. So knowing how to surround yourself with with good people that are like-minded, that only wish you the best and give you great feedback, it's extremely important, especially in the college application process. And having that good network of people will make the whole process a lot less stressful, because you will have like a safety net to kind of revert back to.
Thanks, Enson. For me, I feel like I was kind of on like a solo journey like throughout the first round, which is like, you guys already know the ED and the EA round is like, everyone gets your applications in, and then there's the RD round. For me, so I didn't realize how helpful it was with my friends who got an ED. Like they just stepped up and they gave me like what they had, and they showed me. And I feel like those are what can really help you at that stage. For me, I realized like what was wrong with my essays, and I found out how I can improve it. And specifically like with some of the schools that I was interested in, they had gone into those schools. So I could see firsthand like what are these essays that they're looking for, and if I could somehow utilize what they have to better my own writing. Not copy, you never want to copy someone's writing.
Nothing else to say. Everything they said?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, as another one here, what is the most critical factor for successfully entering the school you want? Ruoxi?
I think you have to care about like, I don't know how the way to phrase this, but like you have to care about your future. You have to care about like, because you care about your future, right? You care about the school you're getting to because you want to get into good school. You have to care about your work, and then you have to care about your work ethic. And then it's just like what Lyons was talking about, how he like, oh, like he didn't like seeing like a missing assignment on his, I don't know, Canvas page. Like seeing a missing assignment on Canvas page gives me anxiety, right? Because I care. And you can't force someone who doesn't care to care. So I think that's probably for me, like the single most important thing.
So you get everything done, whatever it's like on Canvas or extracurricular. Do you do anything extracurricular?
Yeah, I have like a bunch of like in school clubs, out of school nonprofits, things like
What
that.
you done all this time? You know, you have a whole bunch of school club, and then you're still doing well in academically. Time management.
I think a lot of things actually take less time than people expect them to take, especially if you care and want to finish them, right? So like, I'll give you like an example. What I was talking about before, like maybe some people would spend 3 hours on like school homework or school assignments like later at night. But like for me, I know that if I wake up at 8 o'clock, I can get 3 hours assignments done in 1 hour because one, I'm panicked because I want to turn them in. And two, like I want to turn them in because I care about turning them in. So.
Okay. W.
I think you do have to care, like Ruoxi said, but I think when you're talking about getting into colleges specifically, the most important thing you can do is pick schools that are genuinely good fits for you and schools where you would genuinely be happy. Because I know a lot of people who, you know, for example, applied to all of the Ivies because they're Ivies, they're amazing schools, you know, anybody would be lucky to get into an Ivy, they're very hard to get into. But Ivies are very different and all schools are very different. And so if you are just applying to schools for name recognition alone, or for reasons other than genuinely liking a school and all they have to offer, you are going to be less likely to get in because your essays, your application in general is just going to be less genuine. If it sounds like you're pulling information from a website because you don't truly love a school and want to go there, they're going to pick up on that and they're not going to be less inclined to let you in because they only want people who really want to go to their school. And also you should only want to go to a school that you genuinely love and would be happy to live in for 4 years.
I feel like it's always about being authentic to your true self. And I think for me, like expressing like trying to make your application more personal, more human to others, and trying to show that to the college counselor and admissions officer who is reading your application is really important. For me, yeah, I think it's really important to have that. Not much else.
Kind of similar to what was already said, I think it's so important to demonstrate genuine passion. Because I think the biggest mistake that people make when applying is just trying to like hit all the check boxes, trying to, you know, have good scores and good letters and good essays and extracurriculars and just like, you know, do all the things, but I don't think that's really going to get you into, I mean, it's going to get you into a good school, but it's not going to like get you where you want to go exactly unless you're demonstrating genuine passion for the thing that you're doing. And like Katie said, also for the school that you're going to. Like for me, my genuine passion is writing. So I feel like that's something that really came through in my application. Because I feel like, especially for the Ivies and for like any top 20 school, every applicant applying is going to have very good scores, very good GPA. They're going to have all of the checkbox requirements already. So you have to make yourself stand out to admissions officers. You have to give them like a unique angle to go off of, because when they read your file, they're really just like skimming over it. They're looking over the facts. So you have to make yourself stand out in some way, whether that be like demonstrating some really unique extracurricular or writing a really unique essay. But you have to humanize yourself to the admissions officer. So it's not just like a list of scores and your GPA.
Yeah, I think it's really important to actually pursue your interests and actually find what you're passionate about. Because I think doing what you feel is like most meaningful to you will show in your application. And I think when you're writing those essays and you're writing about those extracurriculars, it'll really show your passion, and it'll kind of like, I think it'll be easier to find like an underlying like theme throughout all your passions, and it might be easier to talk about. And I think admissions officers like reading about like having a theme connecting on like all of your extracurriculars.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone has said so far as well. Apart from showing that you care, you should also show the college you want to apply to that you care. This is called demonstrated interest. And Katie touched upon this. Admission officers, they are looking at, the black and white, the, test scores, the GPA, extracurriculars, passion projects, etc. But also, when I was interested in Harvard, I made it extremely clear that I wanted to go to this school. I signed up for summer programs and summer workshops affiliated with them. I did national debate tournaments associated with them. I also did Model UN with them. I'm drawing a blank, but I did a lot. And it shows that not only do you have the rigor and the drive and the ability to get into this school, but you also have the love and then the empathy to give this school a second look by looking at their social media, reading their websites and showing demonstrated interest to the admissions officers. I think that's a growing trend across a lot of American top colleges that they're slowly looking at.
So regarding the initial question, time management, I think, like Roxy said, things take. What's the initial question about time management? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Now I'm lost.
And that's okay. I'll just keep talking and maybe yeah. So I really like what Roxy said about like things take less time than you think it will. I think if you work hard enough, at least for me, if you work hard enough, you can get what you want done in the time that you have. Maybe you'll sleep a little bit less, but if that's something that you are willing to sacrifice, then it's a choice that you can take. And I think actually my story is kind of ironic because I went to summer camp at UPenn last summer, and I actually really didn't like the school. But I ended up, so I told myself I'm never going to apply to this school.
And you're in there. You're
Yes,
going now.
yes. So I applied EA to Princeton, and they told me no. And so when I looked at schools again, I gave Penn a second chance. I took a look at like what it was offering and what I could get from it. And I'm saying this as like, as a high school student, I don't think I even know myself well enough to know exactly what it is that the college campus is going to offer me and what I want. So I think just give everything a chance. Like, don't say like, hey, I'm not gonna apply to this school because I really don't like it. You don't really know what you like or don't like. Maybe you'll end up really loving it once you get in. That's the feeling that a lot of people have. Exactly. So give yourself don't take these opportunities away from yourself. You have so many chances to apply to all these great schools. Don't try to limit it, and just make sure you're doing your research properly. And the application process is just important to know what the school is about and what it is that you want.
That's another one is how to deal with high school relationships. I think the parent asked relationship, that means a boyfriend and girlfriend. You don't hear anything. No time? No time.
My mom. I can answer this question.
Okay.
Personally, I think you can balance your time.
Don't worry, I know that couples in high school, okay? They're
Yes.
good both way. I mean, they're both great in what's that? The show, Frozen, they're both great in studying, so. Have a girlfriend or boyfriend doesn't look bad.
He was in Frozen. I wasn't Frozen.
You're young,
Young Elsa.
awesome, yeah. So go ahead.
Oh,
Kasia.
yeah. This is kind of funny. I've actually been.
If you're okay,
No, yeah, I can answer. So I think,
Okay.
Personally, it's my opinion that a high school relationship is okay. Like your kid is not going to suffer that much because of a relationship. It's also going to make them happy. I'm happy. I don't know if you can tell I'm happy. But yeah, it'll make them happier if they're, I mean, if that's something that they want to do, just like maybe try and remind them that they're still under 18 and that they don't know everything that's going on. And yeah, I think it's okay. What do you guys think?
Advice, I did not manage my time in a relationship.
So I think the overall consensus, whether you have had a relationship or are still in one, or you've never had one, you know, I see two ends of the spectrum. However, I will say it's okay to be in relationships, but be emotionally independent, you know, be self-reliant as well, you know. A high school sweetheart is not the make or break of your life. So always keep that in mind, okay? Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to the next topic. Okay, is it important to be a peer leader in your grade?
What was the question?
Is it important to be a peer leader? Yeah. And Ruoxi?
Definitely. I guess like one of my main spikes, like going into the college application process was like peer leadership and being a part of a lot of clubs and leading a lot of clubs and leading on nonprofits, right? I think it really necessarily like depends on the colleges that you're trying to like apply to and like what you want to like go into the future. But I think most colleges want people who are able to like not just like mindlessly like sit there while other people change the world for them, right? But for to be one of those people that are able to change the world because it gives the college good cred. Definitely like the answer is just definitely yes.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I think a lot of what colleges look at when they're looking at your application is they're trying to picture you on campus and see how you would fit in, what you would do, how you would make the community better. And so I think community engagement is incredibly important as a part of your application. But again, like I've talked about this in previous questions, it needs to be in something that you're genuinely passionate about, because they don't want to see, oh, you clean trash on a beach for an hour because you thought it would help get you into college. They want to see that you're making meaningful change in an area that you're actually genuinely passionate about, because that means it's something you'll likely continue at school and at college and beyond college. And so like when you're joining clubs and you're thinking about running for positions, run for positions in the clubs that you really truly care about. Like I'm vice president of our Model Congress Club, and it's something that has made my high school experience immeasurably better. It's one of my like deepest passions, and Yale actually has a Model Congress program with competitions that I've gone to as a high schooler. And now I'm looking to be a part of that on like more of the administration spectrum when I'm actually there. And I think having that real connection with the school because of an interest that I actually genuinely care about and having that leadership aspect really made a difference in my application because they saw this is something she really cares about and something that she's passionate about and something that she can make a difference in. And we happen to be a good fit for that. And so when you're choosing things and you're looking for leadership positions, make sure they're things you actually care about and want to continue through college and beyond.
I think I would like to reiterate what Katie has said. I think it's very important, but I think it's also important to really have like the drive for it. I think it's really not that important if you really have like if you have like so many clubs and you have like so many positions in them, that's like meaningless because it doesn't really show the colleges that you really want to pursue that, and it doesn't really give the colleges what an idea of what you want to pursue in college. So I think it's really important to really show the colleges what you want to do in college and what you want to contribute in college. So for me, I volunteer a lot. So I plan to volunteer a lot in college, probably doing music as well. So I think that's really important for me to have the drive and to do things that are meaningful for you, not meaningless.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with everyone and say that leadership is so important for applying to colleges. Because like I said before, every single applicant to like the top 20s are gonna have good scores, good GPA, good extracurriculars. So leadership is in an area where you can stand out and really demonstrate that you know how to take initiative and that you can bring something new to their campus. Because most of the time that's what colleges are looking for. They're looking for a student who can bring something new and offer like a new perspective. And also kind of echoing what Katie said, I think it's so important that the area in which you're demonstrating leadership has to be something that you're genuinely passionate about. Like for me, that would be like writing, specifically like I run our school's like journalism program and also our literary magazine. And I think that it's unrealistic to expect that every single student is going to be like a natural born leader. Like I know for me going to high school, going to freshman year, I was really shy. I was definitely not like a natural leader. I really had to kind of fake it till you make it to an extent. But that's why I think it's so important to be doing leadership roles in areas that you're really genuinely passionate about. Like for me, working on the school newspaper, I've gotten to make like real changes within our community. I've gotten to take issues that I genuinely care about, things that have been very controversial and things that have been widely talked about within our school community. And I've gotten to like speak to higher up, speak to school officials about it and make real changes and implement real policy changes within our school. And that's something that's so important to me, because this is an area where I'm demonstrating leadership, but at the same time, I'm genuinely fixing an issue that I care about and is important to me and affects my classmates, and just my community at large.
I think yeah, I agree. I think it's really important to be a leader in your community. But I also think like even if you don't have a lot of like leadership positions, like official titles, as long as you're making like some sort of change within those extracurriculars or like those organizations, I think that's still like worthy and like that's meaningful. Because I think I like what Ruoxi said about like, and what Katie said, when they said the colleges are looking to see if like when you arrive on their campus that you're able to make some sort of change, and they want to see you do that in high school as well. So even if you're not in like a leader in many clubs, as long as you're doing like you're making an effort to make change in those like clubs or extracurriculars, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I wouldn't say much because I think everyone has already said what I wanted to say, but I will say one thing. That one thing is you don't have to be the smartest one or the most experienced one to lead. You have to have tenacity, of course, and you have to have drive and motivation. You have to know how to persevere through adversity. And I definitely wouldn't say I'm, the best or the top 3 at most of the things that I pursue. But in every single one of them, I can proudly say that I have been a leader since freshman year for every single club that I still continue. And that's because when you work hard, people will see through that, and they'll also make a commitment to allow you to lead for them.
Yeah, I also won't say much, but I really like what Enson said. Leadership isn't something that's going to fall into your lap. We look at the clubs. Each club generally has around 4 leadership roles in our school. And I think the ones who get leadership positions aren't the ones who are saying that they want it the most, or that like they're saying like when the election season comes, they're saying, hey, like I really need this for like my resume, so I'm gonna go out there and put myself, and I'm gonna win this position. That's typically not how it works. What really matters is just showing that like, this is something I've been really interested in. I've involved myself in this club throughout like my time at Jericho, and I've put in the work to try and really help the other members and to show that like I can be worthy of this leadership position that's here. So yeah.
Sure. Just for the record, Enson is our class president and Patrick is our entire school president. So if you want to talk leadership, like they're right, they're the people to talk about it.
So what is it too late to join a club? Like a junior, a sophomore?
Sure. No, it is never too late to join a club. One of the things that made my high school career the most impactful, and one of the things that I loved the most about high school was theater. I was in Frozen this year. I was in Legally Blonde and Radio Girls last year. It is truly like one of my biggest passions, and I started that last year and was terrified to do so. I think if you look at a club that seems even a little bit interesting to you and you decide, oh, I don't have enough time to properly get into that in terms of like time left in your high school career. Obviously, if you're already spreading yourself thin, consider not delving into more topics. But if you're a junior and you're wondering, oh, is there enough time left in high school to pursue this, what might be a potential interest? Absolutely go at least to a first meeting, see if you like it, see if you like the people there. I truly had a lot of doubts about joining theater, and it turned into something amazing that I will carry with me for the rest of my life, and wrote multiple college essays about because I love it so much. So you never want to be cutting off avenues for potential interest, for potential growth, places where you can have a leadership impact. You know, like I have leadership positions in a few different theater clubs. And so just delve into those interests, even if there's an inkling in your mind, this might be cool, this might be fun, go and see if you like it.
Thank you so much. Anybody? Anyone else want to share?
I want to quantify that a little bit. So as someone who's part of like a decent variety of clubs, I would say that like it is very much possible to join in your junior, senior years. However, because a lot of my clubs are very much like more like academically focused, right? Do know that the people who have been in there since freshman year have so much more like experience and so much more like, I guess, exposure to like topics or like what they do in those clubs. So it's going like the learning curve is going to be like pretty difficult at the beginning. That does not mean that you should not do it. Just that like much better alternative is like for those of you guys who have not started high school yet, right? To do as many things as you can freshman year and then drop half that when you get, I guess like to figure out those are the things that you want to do.
Okay, thank you so much. That's all questions I have. Any questions from the audience?
Yes, I have a question. Yes. Yes.
You're the first one.
So like whole 1 hour is you guys talk about the high school. I mean, before high school, do you guys need to sacrifice the time, sleep, very intensive, or only focus on high school? Like before high school, you guys can have fun a bit. I know, but not that kind of intensive. Prepare for like academic or like the music, arts. That is my big question. Yeah.
So for me, academics has always been the most important thing in my life. And something that my parents instilled in me since I was very, very small is that school comes first. So heading into middle school, for example, I was a competitive gymnast and I was in gymnastics for probably 20 hours a week, which is a lot of time. And I knew that the time commitment in middle school would be intense with school. So I made the decision to drop gymnastics. And I think, you know, that is an extreme example. And I definitely had a lot of fun in middle school. I made a lot of friends in middle school and I spent time with those friends. So it's not an all or nothing thing. Like you don't necessarily need to choose, oh, I'm going to focus on school, or, oh, I'm going to have a good time. There's definitely room for a healthy mix of both. But also, I don't think they do this program anymore, but there used to be a program where you could take summer classes and accelerate a year in math and science. And I think a lot of us did that, and that's in middle school. So for me, middle school was when I started thinking about academics more seriously and my future, but that also definitely was not the only thing on my mind in middle school. I also focused on making friends and having fun and having a normal childhood. So I think a balance is important.
Patrick, you want to add something?
Yeah, so I think one of the most important things for me, so in elementary school, like you're talking about middle school or just everything before?
General.
Generally, okay,
Elementary
so
and
I'll be very
middle
honest.
school. You have fun all the way until high school and then you intensify everything, or no?
So actually I spent like 2 to 3 hours, maybe just 2 hours a day, like just doing some math problems. And I'm not going to advise like you have your kid do that. I actually didn't mind doing that. So
Wow.
So I think that the most important thing to me, at least, is exposure. When you're in middle school, you really have the chance to like do anything you want, like look at anything you want, and then like there's really no consequence for you wanting to try something new. So for me, like I did robotics in 6th grade, and I fell in love with it, and then I just did it all the way through high school. And so like if you can just like open as many avenues as you can, see like everything like that's maybe like from engineering to humanities, that'd be really helpful.
So what I could conclude is that you spend the time on the things that you're passionate about. So it's not really just playing studying and playing together.
Just adding on, honestly, if I could go back and do it again, I wish I would have had more fun in middle school. And that's not to say like I'm not telling you middle schoolers to slack off or anything. Listen to your parents, do your work. But at the same time, I do feel that in middle school, I was very obsessed with still achieving like, you know, every perfect score and just getting everything on my transcript had to be perfect. And the truth is that colleges really don't see that. They only see your high school transcript. So I feel like there are some like basic like requirements that you should be meeting. You know, you should be doing well. You should be developing a good work ethic and planning your time and developing the skills necessary for high school. And also, like Patrick said, definitely exploring widely and just figuring out what you love and what you're passionate about. But I think it's also important to not just get super caught up in like the intricacies of always having a perfect record, always having perfect numbers, because that's really not something that is going to matter in the actual college process. And the decision process is more important to focus on just, you know, exploring and preparing yourself for high school.
Yeah, I think I want to directly answer your question first. I think it was, you know, you have a lot of fun pre-high school and then it suddenly gets intense. My mom always tells me this, and she's been telling me this before I even started probably kindergarten, and it's that nothing happens overnight. Same thing goes with nothing changes overnight. Unlike the majority of these people who, you know, did a lot of summer camps and double accelerated, I had a great summer. I mean, my parents took me on vacation. I had a lot of fun. I had good eats and stuff like that. But it means that I guess what I'm trying to say is that you can't suddenly expect a child to go from having a lot of fun to you know, cramming and, you know, putting his head in a book every night in high school. That's not how it works. That's not how anything works. And if he has a passion, whether that is sports, whether that is playing video games, turn that into a medium of an extracurricular that you could translate into college application. Because it's what people do is so creative. And if you niche yourself into, I want to be super intense in high school, I'm only going to be doing science Olympiads and debate because that is the formula to high school. I can tell you that colleges are getting more and more progressive, and you could turn your actual passions into passion projects, and you don't have to leave that behind. You should never suppress your actual passion over wanting to get into a college and studying super hard for 4
I
years.
just want to add that if you're also going to high school and doing science Olympiads and debate, does not mean that that is not your passion. Okay, and I'm feeling really attacked right now.
I do debate, so it's fine.
You drop.
Any questions? 还有什么问题吗？
I would like to continue.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, I've had a unique experience when I actually moved here when I was in 6th grade. So I think before then, like I was like I would say I was like a happy little kid. Like I was like I used to live in Buffalo, New York, and that compared to here was like a complete contrast. I would say that even in 6th grade, like I really felt the pressure. Like I really felt the pressure to succeed and stuff. Instead of like Buffalo, where like everybody was just carefree, like no one really cared. But I think in middle school, like nothing happens overnight, like what Enson said. And I think like really developing like your habits, your time managing habits, really developing all your habits, even with like a sudden change and abrupt change as I had, really would allow you to succeed.
Anyone else? Any questions? Go ahead.
So my question is really quick. You guys mentioned do not let yourself spread thin, but you also mentioned you should explore more. So I'm wondering what is the ideal number of clubs that any kid should be involved into at any single time? 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, you can try different things, but for maybe 2 or 3 times, then you change to a different club, but at any single time, how many you think would be ideal for kids?
You guys want to just listen to clubs you're in?
Yeah.
I'm in, so it depends on what clubs you're doing. Some clubs take up a little bit more time than others. I'm in 3 clubs, I'm pretty sure.
I'm in 5.
I would say I'm only like pretty devoted to like one club, but I like tried like maybe like 4 other clubs that I'm like part of, but not as like I'm not seeking like leadership. I'm just like part of the club as a member.
To answer the question a little bit, when I first started in my freshman year, I was part of like, I think 5 or 6 clubs, but I really wasn't like super committed or super devoted to any one of them. I was just exploring my interests. And I think as you go through high school, you really figure out the ones that you want to commit your time to, the ones that you want to demonstrate passion in. So it kind of like funnels down to like, right now, I think I'm in 3 clubs that I'm genuinely committed to, like 2 or 3. So yeah, explore widely, but also if you're putting 110% into like 5 different clubs, you're either getting no sleep or you're just not doing well. So it's important to kind of know like what level you're at based on like in freshman year, you might be exploring a lot. And then in sophomore year, you might be kind of defining which clubs you want to pursue and take into the future. And by like junior and senior year, you should have a better idea of these are the clubs I'm actually passionate about. These are the clubs that I want to make changes in.
I think for me, like I kind of regret in 9th grade, I really just like chose like a set number of clubs and then stuck with it. I think in 11th grade, I added a little bit more clubs. But I think if I would do it all again, I think I would just like choose like as many number of clubs, like a lot of clubs that I would choose to actually like delve into. Because like in 9th grade, you don't really know what to do with your life. You're just trying to figure things out. And I believe like really just like spreading yourself thin in the beginning and then narrowing a lot as the years go on. So now I think I'm in like 3 now.
Yeah, so I'm in 4 clubs right now, and I think I don't remember who's in it, but someone's point. I think it really depends on the type of club you're doing, the type of extracurricular. Model Congress is pretty low key for most of the year, and then we have 2 conferences that we go to. So right before those conferences, things really ramp up and get a lot more stressful. Theater is 2 hours after school every day for a few months a year, and so depending on the types of clubs you're looking at and you're interested in, that time commitment is going to vary wildly. And so I think, especially if we're looking at a lot of people who are entering high school, who are still early in their high school career, some people I think in middle school. So if you have the opportunity earlier on, in 9th grade, you're not taking any AP classes. And so I think you typically have a lot more time to explore some of those interests in some of those clubs. So I would really advocate for doing that earlier in your high school career rather than later, and figuring out, a schedule that works, the number of clubs you yourself can do, because it also varies depending on the person and how much you can handle. And if you're doing sports and how many hard classes you're taking. So there are a million different factors to consider. And so if you can kind of explore earlier in your career, like Lyons was saying, and then narrow it down to what you really truly like and want to do, that has worked best for me.
3.
Nothing else to say. I'm sure.
Thank you.
Are these clubs all in school or any outside school?
I'm not for the 3. It's okay. I'm loud enough. For the 3, I was talking about they're in school clubs, but I am part of sports as well, and then a few out of school activities. So that those do take up a good chunk of your time as well.
Yeah, me as well. I would say my clubs are all in school, but I'm part of organizations and internships and other things outside of school that also take up a large chunk of my time.
Yeah, for me as well. I do music, which takes up a ton of my time. So I think really juggling that and then multiple extracurriculars, I think, yeah, it's important.
What they said.
Actually, I think most of my extracurriculars are out of school. And yeah, I think it's fine to have a mix of both in and out of school.
Yeah, both.
We didn't go together.
I'm on a
High school has faculty and after school. They require practice every day after school, right?
Yes,
Lots of time.
yes, I played soccer all 4 years of high school, no, 3 years, because I couldn't do it during COVID year. And it took up a lot of time. So to keep that into consideration, and with sports is different than clubs. When you go home after you just ran 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, you don't feel the same as you do after you come home doing something else. So just make sure you keep that in account. And I know before I said you're gonna have to sacrifice some sleep to maybe do some extra work. I want to clarify that what I meant is if you're going to procrastinate, which is what I did a lot, then you're going to have to sacrifice some sleep. But if you don't, then you should be able to get a reasonable amount. So don't force your kids to stay up late and stuff. They need to get proper sleep.
Oh my God, I have something to add about that. Okay. Hold on, Matt. Yeah, to your point about letting your kids get sleep. I would just like to say my family is big on family time. And so they would ask me to have dinner with them, my parents, every night. And I would tell them, I have so much homework. I don't think I can do this. And at the start of the year, they were very insistent that I come and eat with them. And obviously I love my parents and I want to spend time with them, but also academics do come first. And towards the end of the year, they were letting me eat in my room while I worked. So definitely listen to your kids if they tell you they have to study. They're not playing video games in their room for the most part. They're cramming an essay that they forgot was due. So just let them work if they need to work.
Anybody else? Next question?
You guys talk about the college visit. So when do you think you need the college visit, you ever did the college visit, you feel you like the college and want to go. So when is a good years you think they should take the kids to see the college? Yes.
I visited colleges, so like fall, winter of my senior year, mostly because I was too lazy to visit them junior year, and also because I wanted to skip school so I could write my college essays for those colleges. But yeah, it was pretty nice. They had like a decent amount of tours still left then. You should definitely visit before writing like the why us college essay if you really love this.
How many college did you visit?
And not many. Like, yeah, no, I think I went to like 3 campuses, but I've been to like not quite a few, but I've been to like a few other because like of math competitions, right? Because those are hosted on college campuses.
I would say I had a pretty different experience from Roxy. For me, it was very important to see a campus and kind of the environment and talk to some students on campus and get a feel for what the vibe was like on campus. So I visited a lot of schools, mostly the summer before my senior year, but a little bit over breaks in my senior year as well. Just because I didn't want to waste time applying to a school that I hated when I was there. And for me, visiting colleges and talking to, tour guides, admissions officers, people who were there really helped me narrow down my list, because I could look at a college and say, I think I would be a great fit here, or I don't think the school is for me. And there were schools that when I visited, I loved that I didn't expect to like, and there were schools that I visited that I thought I would love and absolutely hated. And so visiting colleges was super important for me in deciding where I wanted to go and just what I wanted out of a college in general.
So for me, I had like the exact same experience as Roxy. I also visited only like a few, and then like cause like I think I was just too lazy to actually like spend the time to visit, which in hindsight was like a bad decision, but I turned out fine, so.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna be very honest. I never actually visited Harvard because I applied totally randomly. So, but I will say that for my like original dream school, which was Yale, they did not want me.
Sorry.
Yeah. But when I was making the decision about where I wanted to early decision or where I wanted to REA, I think definitely visiting was a very, very big factor for me. Just because it's very different actually being on campus and just like scrolling through their website. Like for me, I was very lucky because I actually had an older friend who went to Yale and who took me like on like an inside tour of the place, of the building. So I really got to see like what the campus was like, and I really got to talk to students and talk to professors, which I think was really special. So I think my main point is just no matter if you're visiting like 2 colleges or if you're visiting like 12, really take advantage of the time that you're there. So like talk to current students, talk to professors, talk to guidance counselors, or like whoever you can get your hands on. Just like talk to the people there so that you can really get a sense of what the college is like. Visit as many places as possible, eat their food, go to their clubs if possible. So yeah, I think really just like immerse yourself in the experience because you might be surprised what you find.
I didn't visit like too many colleges, but when I did, it was throughout my junior year during like the holiday breaks. But what was more helpful for me was talking to current students. And I think it was like it gave me an idea about what the environment was like, because when you're talking to students, they give you like a more like accurate description of what like being a student there is like, that you might not hear about during like when college like admission officers have their meetings. So I didn't visit too many, but I think if you can, it would be nice, especially if you can apply.
Yeah, I think the best time to visit a college is the summer before 12th grade, the summer before your senior year. You have a lot of time. Yeah.
Yeah, so I won't say a lot about this because I didn't end up going to like, well, I'm going to college that I visited that I didn't love, but I think the college visit is like, as much of it as it's like a tool for like seeing the college, it's also a tool for like motivating like, your kid, right? You go to like a campus like Princeton where like the campus is beautiful, it's like a romantic scene. That's like the motivation that's like gonna push your kid to say like, oh, this is where I want to be next year. This is where I want to end up. So I think it's important to make sure that you, not to make sure, but just like visit when your kid is about to like apply to those colleges. So like summer of junior year, that's a good time, with fall of senior year. I think visiting too early is like, it's not, it's still a bit far. So visiting sooner will like help give them motivation to say like, oh, I'm gonna like write my essay, I'm gonna like work on this hard because I really want to go here.
So my question is very simple, maybe to end on a high note. Now that you guys are graduating high school, what is like one thing that you guys are most looking forward to in college?
I think meeting new people, just meeting new diverse people from like all over the world with all different experiences. Because I feel like living in Jericho, like I love all of my friends, but I do feel like we live in a bubble a little bit. I feel like we're all very similar, like academic wise, just background wise. So I know that when I visited for like the admitted students days, one thing that I really enjoyed was like the town show, because there were just so many different cultures and backgrounds and like people with all different stories and identities that I had never experienced. So I think just like getting to witness that really brought this new perspective for me. And I'm just really excited to be like meeting people with all these different stories and backgrounds, especially because I am a journalist and a writer. So I think that's something that I can really incorporate into my own life. And also just kind of exploring my own interests and seeing where my path will take me. Like I mentioned before, I applied as an English major, but that's not like 100% the path I'm going to take into the future. So I know that our curriculum is generally very flexible, so I have a lot of options. And I also don't have to decide on a concentration until my sophomore year. So definitely just getting to explore widely and figuring out really where I want to go in the future.
Anyone? Yeah, I just generally am very, very excited for college and to try new things. But I think if I had to choose just one thing I'm the most excited about, it would be the variety of classes. Because, you know, here in high school, you have 2 or 3 history choices, and 2 or 3 math choices that you could take. And, you know, there are electives, and honestly, Jericho has incredible electives compared to a lot of other schools. But if you go onto any university's website and you look at the course selections, they have like the Salem witch trials in America from 1608 to 1610, and like such specific classes on like such a wide variety of topics, and they all look incredible. And I am someone who is very passionate about a lot of different things, and so just seeing that wide variety compared to like the pretty narrow selection that we've had here is very exciting for me.
Okay, we'll take the last question of the night.
You guys talked a lot about time management. I would like to know the number of AP courses that you take. 10, 15.
I took 15.
15.
I took either 15 or 16. I don't remember.
I think like 13 or 14, because I think I took music, which really like set me back like one class.
14.
I took 9.
13.
13. Okay, that's how many total?
Yeah, no,
That's total. That's total.
Yeah, I mean, the total you can choose is like 20 and then you pick 15 out of 20.
No total, but like I do know that like AP art art history too was not like something that I was.
Oh, I took AP art history outside of school. It was great.
I can never
Also-
take an AP outside of school.
On the topic of AP tests, or like AP classes, I just want to say they are important, and I'm not telling you not to take them because they definitely will be like a boost to your transcript. But also I think it's important to recognize that there are some classes that don't have the AP designated label, but are still very, very important. And this goes back to what we were talking about before, like exploring your genuine passions. Like, for example, for me, one class that I took throughout high school is the new media communications class, which is also our journalism program. So this is like a 4-year course. And for me, it just really kickstarted so much of my exploring my passions, my leadership roles, making changes in clubs. So definitely there is an emphasis on APs, but also make sure that if there is a class you're genuinely interested in, that you do explore it. And you allow yourself the opportunity to delve into new things because you never know what you might find.
One AP is not gonna make or break your college.
Yeah,
experience, right?
true.
Like,
Yeah.
So 15 is like 4 years you take, no, 3 years take 15, or like the last year you take 15.
No, 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I agree with Katie. One AP is not going to make or break your high school. And Roxy, I'm so sorry. And I will say, if you are making room for classes that you're passionate about and you can speak about those on your transcript, it's so much more authentic and real. I took APBC calculus last year. I'm in multi now. It was not a class I enjoyed. It was not a class I particularly wanted to take. I'm not majoring in math, unlike Roxy, potentially. And there were classes that I really wanted to take and didn't feel I had the time to take. For example, art history was a class I really wanted to take, and Jericho actually didn't offer it. And so I decided to take it outside of school. And so if there are things you're passionate about, take them. And there are definitely other avenues where you can take those APs, get those accolades, things to put on your transcript, stuff like that. So make sure you're also indulging in your passions.
Are we good with the AP?
Yes.
Okay, so I just wanted to go back to the last question. I really wanted to answer your question, but I didn't have the chance. I'm gonna be very honest, and maybe parents might close their ears for this, but I'm excited for the freedom. Like, I think the next 4 years, we have the chance to explore new things, and I don't know even what's new that we've never seen before. And I think there's generally like the idea that we live in like a Jericho bubble, right? Like we like really encased in like a small community. And I'm just excited to go and meet new people, learn new things, and like just do what I want to do. And I think, I don't know if we're ending now, but I think just to end on I think we up here have been very lucky in our college application processes. A lot of the college application process is on luck. Even if you do everything right, you can still get rejected. So it's not going to make or break your life. I know I have a lot of friends who worked very hard, and who've just not been as lucky as I have. So it's not life or death. I know that sounds kind of wrong coming from me, but like, please, for your kids too.
You're here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think like at the end of the day, like only like 2 or maybe pushing it like three college admissions counselors are actually reading your application, and they will like make or break your college acceptance. So at the end of the day, like just put your best foot forward, and whatever happens, like just accept it, and life moves on. You really go through with life, and then one rejection isn't really gonna break you. You can just move on and pursue your passions in the future.
Yeah, I completely agree. I will say that your college doesn't define you, and like Patrick said, like it sounds a little disingenuous. Coming from us, because we all ended up at very good schools that we're very happy at, but I know a number of people who have gone to schools that they initially weren't super thrilled about and ended up loving it there. And so it's really not about the college you go to, but what you make of it while you're there. So if you're at an Ivy League school and you're not engaging in the community and making the most of your time there, you're not gonna have as good an experience, especially when it comes to grad school, as someone who went to a lesser known college, but really, you know, got involved and participated in extracurriculars. That's what people want to see. They want to see what you've done with your opportunity, not that you had an opportunity, because it is a lot of just luck. You know, we're all very lucky up here. So definitely your college does not define you. You're going to get acceptances, you're going to get rejections. And the rejections suck, but they don't define who you are.
Yeah, I kind of want to add on to that. And again, I know coming from like this group of people, it might sound a little bit ironic. But it is the truth, because I can speak for a lot of us when I say that we definitely sacrificed a lot of, you know, health and happiness and a lot of things that really shouldn't have been sacrificed during this process. So again, especially when it comes to like the top 20 schools, it truly is a lottery. It truly is just like 3 people looking over your file for like 5 seconds. So I think ultimately it's just, you have to make sure that you don't base your worth on just like this number or like this acceptance. Because it really is, you're so much more than that. You are a whole package, and it's like wherever you end up, if you have the drive, you have the motivation, and you have the ability to make change in that community, it's really just about like what you do within the community. So yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and then we're gonna end tonight, and good luck in college life, and enjoy freedom, and wish the best for all you guys.
I'm not going into engineering. I'm not going to engineering. Wait.
I got it, guys. I got it.
You got it. How? I did not know it. You got it. Thank you so much.